Hi, I'm Tanya, and I am an adult child of divorce. In this video, I want to talk about some of the things that I learned as a child as a result of growing up with divorced parents that are still impacting me today. And as I share about my experience, my hope is that you, if you grew up with divorced or separated parents, will maybe be able to resonate with some of the things that I'm saying. Maybe you'll understand some of the habits or patterns that you find yourself in your relationships as an adult. And then you can think about what changes you might want to make to move towards more healthy ways of relating. One of the first things that comes to mind is this idea of the parent-child role reversal. So in my case, my parents were very competent in many ways. But as a small child, a young girl, I took on this responsibility that I had to be the one to make sure that they were okay. So if my dad didn't have a birthday party, I would plan it for him. If my mom seemed a little bit low, I would try to think of some way to cheer her up or make her feel better. As a child, I tried to downplay my own needs, wants, and preferences. I felt that my parents, particularly my dad, who I lived with, had so many other things on his plate that I didn't want to add any responsibility or any more pressure to his life. So often I would not be honest about what I needed, what I wanted. I would try to find my own solutions instead of appropriately going to my parent and asking for help. What I find now in a lot of my adult relationships is that I naturally lean towards trying to care for others. I downplay my own needs and wants. I find it hard to ask for the things that are important to me or the things that I would like, to state my preferences honestly without any kind of agenda or manipulation. And sometimes it feels a bit strange if I'm in a relationship, a friendship, or a romantic relationship now in a marriage with somebody who is an equal, because I, for so long, was drawn to or gravitated towards people who needed my help, or in relationships where I felt like I had something to offer, that I could be the one who was helping them or making their life easier. A second thing that I picked up as a child of divorce is the idea of keeping secrets from each parent and sort of compartmentalizing my life. So I was very careful to not let my mom know what was happening in my dad's life or in his home, and to not let my dad know what was happening in my mom's life or her home. As a result, I also had to compartmentalize myself. I had to sort of separate myself into two different people, the Tanya at her dad's and the Tanya at her mom's. What I noticed then in my adult life is that I became somebody who was very hesitant to speak freely and openly about my life, the different parts of my life, my relationships, and so on. I found it difficult to know how much was appropriate to share with the different people in my life. I found myself quite afraid and hesitant to talk about people with somebody else. A third thing that I learned as a child, which I've carried with me into my adult life, is being a people pleaser. What I mean by this is, as a kid, I was so afraid of being rejected or abandoned by my parents or by anybody else that I quickly developed the habit of trying to be whatever people wanted from me. I became a bit of a chameleon. I would agree with what people said. I would go along with their preferences. If they were excited about something, I would be excited about it. If they were angry about something, I would be angry about it. I was willing to change myself or to act differently in order to keep people around me happy. And of course, this came from a very childish, undeveloped understanding of what makes a relationship or a friendship work. I thought that to have a good relationship or friendship, I had to be like the other person. I had to think like them, believe like them, act like them, have the same opinions as them, and so on. I didn't understand that you could still have a very good and healthy relationship if you were different from one another. And so in my adult relationships, I still see this tendency, the tendency to try to agree with people, to keep the peace, to get along, and to not make waves. There are times in adult relationships where I feel uncertain, actually, of what I think or what I want. I've become so used to just going along with the other person and agreeing with them that I found it hard at times to actually know who I am. If you've noticed any of these habits or relational patterns in your own life, you are not alone. Once we're able to understand how we're acting, where we've learned these lessons, then we're better equipped to decide which of these habits and relational patterns do we want to keep and which ones do we want to change or adjust or reevaluate. If you found this video helpful, then please like it and subscribe to my channel to learn more about the experience of adult children of divorce.